come out here and data looks like the way it wants. Where am I doing 1,000,001 reports in a week? I'm supposed to be
Oh
creating
boy.
apps and
Yeah.
doing something. The question of tell me about yourself. Oof, what is that? you know, um, what keeps me going? One, you have to pay bills.
I love the honesty
Unfortunately,
there. Uh-huh. You are told, fake it till you make it, but nobody really tells you exactly how to fake it.
Amplifying African tech stories, elevating technical brilliance. This is the Geo Habari podcast.
One, three, two, one. Okie dokie. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Young Professional segment on the Geo Habari podcast, where we keep it relatable and quite real. On today's episode is it's a bit of the entire era transition, okay, from class to the culture shock that comes when adjusting to the work life. And listen, if you've ever left campus thinking that you are ready for the world, only to get smacked in the face to tedious Monday meetings and probably awkward, I don't know, office culture and jargon and all that, well, this is the right place for you. I'm your host, Linus Anari, still figuring this whole professional thing out myself. And joining me is someone who's already walked that path, the amazing Florine Kaino. So, Florine, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast. Before we dive in, Florine is one thing that she won't go around bragging about is that she got a first class from the University of Nairobi, so which means that she's a graduate from the University of Nairobi. And quite honestly, when I think of people who've transitioned from class to career with grace and grit, she's at the top of the list. Florian, how's it going?
hi, Linus. Thank you so much for that very nice introduction. Like you mentioned, my name is Florine Kaino. I'm a graduate from the Department of Geospatial and Space Technology at the University of Nairobi. And yes, I think it's been 5 years or 4 years. Yeah, in the fifth year of transitioning or of completing school and getting into this very crazy world, as you call it, of actual work and adulting. Yeah.
Right. Also, just to get this out of the way, okay, because I've been trying to follow you on LinkedIn, but you seem to be all over. What are you doing at the moment?
At the moment, I work with Masiko Kenya. So Masiko is an international NGO that operates all around the world, but in Kenya we work a lot with ASAL areas or in ASAL counties. We implement different donor-funded programs. I worked with one for about 3 years called the ASAL Adapts program funded by Google and Cisco, then transitioned to a regional program covering Ethiopia, Somalia, and Kenya called the Regional Livestock Program, where I'm currently serving as the data and GIS advisor. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Let's just go back, okay? Way back to the time you're about to graduate. How did you land your first job? Was it like a smooth ride or more of a roller coaster?
Um, I think I landed a job before I finished my undergraduate, but it had nothing to do with GIS or geospatial work. But it really paid my bills, which was important at that time. So it was a technical support role with Microsoft. We used to do a lot of technical
Mm.
support for M365 and Windows. But now transitioning into the JS world, which was ideally immediately after we graduated, I'd say I was fortunate enough to have a smooth ride because it was during COVID time and we were recognized for, as you said, getting a first class, and we were just automatically taken into Esri Eastern Africa through the recommendation of Lucy Chekoche, if you've heard of her in the industry. So that was more of a smooth transition, but now it was just a 3-month internship, which now later transformed to a technical trainee role, and then later to an actual job at the company. Yeah.
Actually, you mentioned Lucy Chokoche. I remembered the aspect. She's actually Mama JS. That's her nickname.
Yes,
And it's
yes.
true. She's one of the few people who are a proponent about the geospatial sector and that entire field. Anywho, now that you've been on this other side, okay, what would you say surprised you most during these interviews that you are taking after uni year?
I think what surprised me most was that the interviews, apart from looking at your technical skills and what you can do or what you can't do, they basically wanted to see your long-term vision in terms of what you can offer the company. So, are you aligned with the company? I remember during one of my interviews, I was asked, now that you got a first class, are you planning to go, for a master's or something? Which was more of a disqualifying thing. So if I'd said yes, they'd be like, this one is not here for a long time. And I was actually told, this masters people, they like leaving all the time. We'll invest in you as technical trainees and then you leave. At first, I actually thought I was supposed to say yes, because who wouldn't want to go and pursue their postgrad, but I realized it's something the company wants to see how, if they're willing to invest in you, especially as an intern or as a trainee, are they able to reap those returns in the future, so that they don't train you after like 6 months, then you just leave. Though in hindsight, that's the whole goal. You want to get the most experience and shift to the next thing. But again, corporate being corporate or companies being companies, they don't want to invest in you and reap as much as they can get from you. Yeah.
True,
The
facts,
other
facts.
shock that I actually got from my interviews was the question of, tell me about yourself. Oof, what is that? It used to be a very difficult question for me, because you'd be like, I can tell you very many things about myself. There are very many aspects of this, but with my research and everything, I realized again they want to see, what's your vision in terms of working in the industry. What are your strengths? What are your problem solving skills? How do you interact with the rest of the team? Your teamwork and everything. So sometimes, or I realized you even need to give scenarios of what you've done or what you can do during that period, rather than saying, I am passionate about GIS, I can do this and this and this. They want to actually see your problem solving skills, your teamwork, or what kind of how do you interact with people, especially those that you're working with.
Yeah.
And finally, I'd say the other thing that I learned from my interview, or from my first interviews, was you need to actually ask questions after. So, after the interview, and then they're like, okay, fine. Do you have any questions for us? Before, I used to think it was like, we're done with this interview, so what now? So it's over. But again, I realized it's an evaluation point. They want to see, have you done your research about the company? They want to also see your interest in that role. So questions like, would you expect, or what are your expectations from this role for the next, maybe 3 months? So they want to see that you're actually interested in this role, and you've already positioned yourself, in that role, and you're trying to look at the deliverables. What does success look like in this role and stuff like that? Then the other thing that they also want to look at is, are you interested in the culture of this company? Do you care about what's the culture around here? So again, I didn't know it's important to ask questions like during that final part. But again, that's something that I got to learn, that, it's good to do your research. And even if you don't have a question, just ask, what does the first 90 days success look like for you as a manager? When I take this role, or when someone takes this role, something like that. Yeah.
Interesting. So, all right. So you got the job, right? You walk into that office on day one, I suppose. And so what was that moment where you go like, oh, nobody warned me about this? Like, oh boy. That sort of moment. Like, was there something about how people interact, maybe communicate, or even just dress that like took something getting used to?
Yes, two aspects. I'd start first with an intern. As an intern, honestly, no one cares about you. I'm sorry, but
Whoa,
nobody
whoa.
cares about you. You're just an intern. Don't make noise for people in the office. Even if you ask me questions, you're making noise for people in the office. The people who don't even want to say hi to you, like they'll pass by you. I remember
Oh
after
man, oh man.
my
Yeah.
my 3 months, and then after like 6 months in the company, someone was like, I didn't see you as an intern. Like after now they're interacting with me after I've gotten hired, they're like, you are an intern here. They
Oh
couldn't
man.
actually remember you as an intern, and you are all over the place.
Damn.
You probably do presentation, you probably do a lot of printing work and
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Yeah.
Then also now, having transitioned now to like another role in another organization where you come in on
Yeah.
your first day, again, no one really cares about you. You are you're a visitor. Of course, unless now you go to the HR, and then the HR now checks you around and says, what do this is a new staff, she does this and this and this and this. I think my expectation would be like, people like, you're welcome, have a seat, taking you through what is expected. Nah. Nobody. You'll sit on your desk and now try to figure out, probably ask a few questions here and there, but yeah, that's it. Then the other thing that I realized after is, especially in the corporate world, there are so many meetings. Oh my gosh. Some meetings, we are meeting about a meeting, or the meeting has no specific agenda because you're coming to meet to discuss what the agenda of the meeting is. And then we organize for the meeting that, we'll actually have for these agendas. So
Whoa. Yeah.
there's so many meetings. Sometimes you don't even end up doing, the creating of maps, the creating of models and everything, but you spend a lot of time probably trying to conceptualize works, conceptualize, ideas and everything, which is a good thing. And I'd say I learned a lot about conceptualizing solutions and trying to understand the needs of clients, especially on the GIS aspects. But my
Yeah.
shock was the very many meetings. I couldn't guess why we were having so many meetings. um, you know. So I'd say that's the other shock that I got when I got into the industry. Another shock that I got also, but in the development space, that's the
Mm-hmm.
NGO world and all this donor-funded work and everything. Sorry to say,
Mm-hmm.
but there are numerous workshops, numerous stakeholder engagement sessions, and we are just calling people to come. We sit in a hotel, eat very nice food. I'm not complaining, but when you try to follow up what came out from that, and are we implementing these ideas, and very nice ideas normally come out of it, but the more you go to this many of them, you realize they're the same things
Yeah.
we are discussing, same things are coming up, but there's no action after that. It's like we're just planning for another workshop and another workshop and another workshop. I feel like that also was, I didn't expect it. I expected more of action, more of working with the communities or trying to bring these solutions to the last mile. But yeah, sadly, that's what we actually found when we got in the space. Yeah, I think that's what I have for that.
Whoa. Because I totally get that, like the surprise when it comes to your first internship. Because personally, when I started my first attachment, I think in our fourth year, I was doing
Mhm.
it at the Nairobi County government, and I expected to be, let's make Nairobi work because that's the motto. But there I was just moving from office to office, just taking one document from one office to the next. So that is actually one of the things I think that are quite disappointing about like that entire shift that comes when you expect this from what you learned in class, and when you hop into the job market, it's completely different.
Yeah.
And now that you've actually brought all these things up, is there like something that you're doing right now that school never taught you in terms of managing your work deliverables and stuff like that,
Oh
that the
yeah.
school never taught you and you have to learn it right now all afresh?
So much. Oh God. I think school just covered, honestly, if I'm to be very, very honest, no insult to the university. But
Right.
I think school gave me a proper 2% of, you know, what I'm currently doing.
2%. Wow.
2%, which is
Wow.
the concepts.
Wow.
like understanding the concepts and how things work.
Yeah.
But when I got here from how we, because you see, school was just teaching us how to, the most that we do that would apply is how to use the softwares. Yeah. Apart from, of course, the concept, which I am not discrediting, because the concept is very, very, very important. When you come out here and you're trying to, debunk GIS to people, something that's very obvious to you is not obvious to, to people. Things like attribute, like what, it's not something that's, they get it. You have to actually sit down and break it down little by little. So the concept was 100% check, which I say is what school gave me. But coming out here, trying now to, because you see, in the space, you're basically trying to build solutions for people, or you're trying to solve problems for either your organization, for your program, for, you're giving a solution for something. So you kind of have to now bring out or use these skills to solve this problem, or to give these people the solution that they want. From using softwares, I think school just taught us how to create maps, but there's more to it. There's a lot around working with data. School gave us very straightforward data, but you come out here and data looks like the way it wants. So you need to figure out, probably first organize it. Even the solution, the person who you're creating the solution for, that they themselves do not understand what they actually want. So you also now need to figure out what they want. I remember a friend of mine used to say that a client starts with, they have an Excel data and they want you to develop a solution from that will still generate another Excel table for it, at the end of it all. So there's also now, in my opinion, there's a big misconception around GIS and what GIS can do and what it cannot do. A lot of expectations out here, but then you see, you're the one who needs to figure out how you can fit your skills, how you can fit the needs of the client, and all these expectations, to come up with something that can actually be tangible, that can be palatable to, the end users. The other thing that I didn't realize, or that, school never taught me, honestly, is doing reports. Oh my God. I think that's the one thing that I was like, where am I doing 1,000,001 reports in a week? I'm supposed to be creating notes and doing something. So I actually really struggled with reports. I remember I had to take a class around reporting, because I was like, what, you go for a client visit, you need a report. You go for what, you need a report. At workshop, you need a report and everything. So a skill that I didn't know that I needed was reporting everywhere, from whatever industry you're in. Reporting is a must. Then there's the other thing that has also been a very big part of my work, which is capacity building. So working with adults, actually very nice professional adults, and you need to train them, GIS from scratch to end, and not only GIS, but how it fits into their work, or how it can make their work easier. I don't know if it's possible to be taught how to train in school, but again, that's something that is in my day-to-day portfolio that I didn't know that I'd have to do, but for some reason I've really enjoyed it, and it has really helped me to grow my skill. The other thing that, again, maybe if I knew, I'd have done better from school, is the trajectory of it, especially in the GIS space, where it's the benefits are multi-sectoral. So you may find yourself in a different place that you did not, expect to be there. There easy to go companies that are, offer GIS solutions that are easy, but then you may find yourself in another company that, wants you as a GIS person, but GIS is not their core activity. So you kind of need now to fit yourself and your skills into that. For example, currently my role is more of an M&D role, rather than a GIS role. So I had to see how, I can fit myself into that space and still, give deliverables, do a lot of monitoring, measuring of the outputs, and stuff like that, and then I'll incorporate that into donor reporting and everything around it. Yeah, I'd say if I knew, I would not have gotten into the industry with a very single-minded approach, like I'm just going to, or my work is to create maps and do this. You'll find that you spend most of your time doing a lot of data cleaning, most of your time building solutions, most of your time explaining the solution to the partner or to the client, or to who, having that very wide scope of what you can do. Or you can even find yourself in the energy sector, find yourself in the agriculture sector, in the health sector. You need to understand all these things that are going on there. So but when you go with that narrow thinking of, it's all about maps, shapefiles, QGIS, GIS and all that, you may not be able to do that. But when you go with the thought of you're using this as a means to get an impact or a solution for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sectors, that would be easier. Yeah.
Wow. Actually, you've shared a lot of thought-provoking statements right there. Right there. And I don't know, especially when you mentioned about the things that you were so surprised. I feel like as though it's more of you are told, fake it till you make it, but nobody really tells you exactly how to fake it. Anywho, we're gonna go for a break, and we'll be back with the next part of this chat on reflections and growth with our very own Florine Kaino.
Thank you for tuning in to the Young Professional segment hosted by Linus Anari. This segment is intentionally raw, filled with banter, and grounded in authentic, lived experiences. This is the Geo Habari podcast, dedicated to amplifying African tech stories and elevating technical brilliance. If you're enjoying the show, please leave us a rating, as it helps more people discover the podcast.
Ready to go?
Yes.
Alrighty. Welcome back to the Young Professional segment of the Geo Habari podcast. With us is Florine Kaino. And yeah, we shall proceed. Florine, if you could talk to your final year younger version of yourself, what would you warn her about or help her prepare for when it comes to this whole transition?
I think the first thing I'll tell my final year self is that you know nothing. I'm sorry, but you really know nothing. But you learn, and it's okay to not know and learn and pick up. But one thing for sure is that you learn a lot and you'll enjoy it and you'll be good at it eventually. Yeah. The other thing that I'd also tell my final year self is that success will not come immediately. It will really take a minute. Not only success, in the monetary aspect, but success even in, your technical skills and what you can do and what you can offer in the industry. It will take a lot of learning. It will take a lot of interactions, networking, knowing people, trying, failing, a lot of imposter syndrome, and so much discouragement even from different players in the industry. But all you need to do is actually just try it and fail, and if it doesn't work, try again and try again. The other thing that I'll also speak to is please have an open mind, especially in our industry. Don't go focused on, being, it's good to be technical and it's perfect to be technical because it means, you understand everything, from all around the scope. But there's more to it. Unfortunately, there's office politics that you'll have to deal with. So it's not only about your skills and what you can offer. Sometimes you have to champion for this side and this side and this side to be on the safe side, especially in the corporate side. So only focusing on the technical side may not be a good idea. You may also want to ensure that you're cognizant of the other environments around you, like the office, the politics, the social side, and everything that actually impact you here and there. Then finally, I think I'd ask my very young self to really focus on the soft skills that are not really soft. It's a lie, soft skills are not soft. They're very hard because they're basically your drive. You may have all these perfect ideas, all these perfect solutions, all these very nice skills. But if you can't communicate those skills, if you can't change those skills to something impactful, if you can't convince someone to invest in those skills and in those fantastic solutions, it's really not going to make much difference. It will just be in your laptop somewhere, in your hard disk somewhere, seated there. But you need to find a way to open up, share it with people, have a discussion with people, but not also with everyone. So it also has to be very strategic. Who do you bring all these conversations on the table? Who do you interact with? Learn to judge who can sort you out or who can push you to the next level, probably give you a better role and everything. But don't be scared to put yourself out there, because it's all the leverage that you have for yourself. Yeah.
Right. Oh, you mentioned something about success there. Wow. Okay. Success. And also you brought up the aspect about imposter syndrome, if I'm getting you right. Okay, so let's begin with this. Your perspective about success, especially having graduated, you of course expect to be solving world problems and anything else that could potentially end up giving a company, $1 billion idea and that sort of thing, to maybe end up all the SDGs that have been outlined, all the 30 of them. Is there like any sort of like how to measure your success as, a person who just started off from uni? And also, what is one of the few imposter syndromes that you felt yourself?
Okay. Oof, that's a hard one, especially the success one. But
yeah.
my version, I'd say my version of success is actually more of self, that you feel you've actually made an impact, okay, in whatever you've done. It may not be a $10 billion deal impact, but you probably trained someone who really needed to understand the GIS skills, and they couldn't even hold a computer, but now they're, using the skills that you've taught them, and 10 years later they're writing a text to tell you, you taught me this and it has done this and this and this for me. That is my definition of success. You may have probably just done come up with a culture or something that the company is still using until right now. That is a success for me. So it's not necessarily covered or taken to be monetary or to be the contemporary version of success, but it's in yourself, because the amount of effort you put into that, and then when you see the actual impact either at the community level or I'm talking about a lot about the community because of the development space, but either at the colleague you worked with, who you helped them do 1, 2, 3 things that really changed their lives, or even a come up that you created 10 years ago and it's still hanging somewhere on someone's office, and they can still refer to it and utilize it. It may not be a big deal, but because you know how much effort you put into it, and you gave your whole heart to it, I think that's my definition of success. Yeah.
Success.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have a moment where imposter syndrome actually kicked in?
Oh, it's every day.
Or how was it?
Every single day.
Boy.
It's not even a joke.
Wow.
Every single, I think I got imposter syndrome for every single new role I started, every new task that I got. I'd say imposter syndrome is there, especially in this, and it's not even in your first 5 years or whatever. It is always there because things are changing. You're probably moving to a new company, the culture is different, the way they do work is different. Your JD might look like this, your job description might look like this, but then when you get to that specific space, it's a whole other thing, and you need to reconfigure yourself and see what you can do about it. It could be new tools, it's not that you don't know how to use these tools. That always comes up. The leadership styles are very different, so you could probably get a supervisor or a manager who if your version of success is satisfying them, you'll always have a lot of imposter syndrome when they probably didn't like that one slide that you didn't sleep the whole night trying to create, or they didn't like that how that layer looks like, and you put so much effort into it. So imposter syndrome is there. and it's there to stay. In fact, that should be under the, what should you tell your younger self, that imposter syndrome is there, but it's there to stay. But how do you overcome it? Because again, it can really put you down, it can really discourage you, it can really lie to you that you do not have the skills that you actually have, so affecting your confidence. So I think one thing that I do is I always remind myself of, probably some the successes that I've had, the effort that I've put in, and the fact that in an interview that you start, you probably had probably very, very many people, but the company saw that you're worth to have this role. Could be cliche, but yeah, you need to talk to yourself in the mirror every day, unfortunately. Remind yourself of what you can do and try to focus on the little success. Do that one thing that you feel like you can do right, and then probably not attaching the success to other people. Again, supervisors can be supervisors because they're still human. So if you get a supervisor who does not see your work, you'll always have that issue. So you kind of need to believe in the effort that you're putting, and being able to point out when either your supervisor is not speaking your language, which is very dangerous. But try to work around it and see how you can still satisfy your role, but at the same time not put yourself in a position where you feel like you're not good enough for a role that you clearly emerged the best in. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so if actually imposter syndrome is a bit more of a constant, as it seems, then I'm just left to wonder, then what keeps you going as yourself? Because I mean, we have that moment where we keep on doubting ourselves. Am I really worth for this role? Am I really gonna make an impact and all that? Like, what keeps you going? Rather, what should keep someone going?
What keeps me going? One, you have to pay bills.
I love the honesty there.
You're an adult, and there are bills that are waiting for you at the end of the month. But number two, what really keeps me going is that I know I'm good at it. I know as much as I faked it, but I faked it until I made it. I created a skill out of myself. I invested in myself, did a lot of training, picked up a lot of skills here and there, and invested in those skills. So what keeps me going is that actually have what it takes. So I'm not saying me, but that person actually have what it takes. The other thing is, again, remembering some of the things that you've done. Some of the times that you did things. Okay, you could have asked people. Sometimes they're like, "Oh wow, you did this and this and this and this and this." And you're like, "Oh really?" Sometimes you need that third voice to remind you of how good you are, or where you achieved all this. To just remind you. It's okay. It's so nice to have a support system to always just remind you that, hey, hold on, you have what it takes and you're good to go. So I'd say a good support system. I'd also say that having that self reflection to just remind yourself that you're good at this, and remind yourself also of just the investment that you've put in. And finally, what's the other thing I mentioned? I can't remember the other thing I've mentioned.
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
That's completely okay. Anyway, Florine, thank you so much for sharing so openly and honestly. I think a lot of young professionals needed to hear this, especially the part about being cognizant of other environments around you. That's in terms of politics, social, and other aspects that completely impact you, that you are completely not aware of, and also the soft skills that are not really soft but are actually hard. But before we go, where can people find you or follow your journey?
Thank you. So you can find me on LinkedIn at Florine Kaino. Instagram, but that's a bit informal. At Kaino, and of course, all the other socials, you can just look for Kaino. But for professional things, please find me at LinkedIn at Florine Kaino. Yes. Yeah.
Alrighty. That's it for this episode of the Young Professional segment. If you're navigating your own culture shocks or imposter syndromes, remember, you're not alone. We're all trying to figure it out professionally. Make sure to follow Geospatial wherever you listen to your podcast. And hey, share this with someone who just graduated. They'll thank you later. Till next time, I'm Linus, and this has been real.